It was Christmas Eve 1945 in the quiet Appalachian town of Fayetteville, West Virginia. Snow blanketed the sleepy hills, and festive lights glowed gently from homes across the valley. At the heart of this community stood the Sodder home, lively, warm, and full of laughter. George and Jenny Sodder, Italian immigrants who had built a life from the ground up, were raising 10 children. That evening, the Sodders celebrated Christmas the way any large family would, singing, exchanging gifts, and enjoying each other's company. But while the outside world saw a home brimming with holiday cheer, something dark had already set its course in motion. At around 12:30 a.m., Jenny Sodder received a phone call. It was strange. A woman's voice asked for someone unfamiliar. Behind her, Jenny could hear laughter and the clinking of glasses, like a party. Jenny told the caller she had the wrong number and hung up. It felt like a prank, but there was something eerie about the woman's tone, something off. Dismissing the unease, Jenny returned to bed. That would be the last moment of peace in the Sodder household. Just an hour later, flames erupted from the lower floor of the house. George and Jenny woke in panic, rushing to gather as many of their children as possible. In the chaos and smoke, only 4 of their children made it out alongside them. 5 others, Maurice, 14, Martha, 12, Louis, 10, Jenny, 8, and Betty, 5, were nowhere to be found. George smashed windows and burned his arms trying to get back inside, but the flames were too strong. Desperate, he tried to climb to the second floor to reach the children's bedrooms, but the family ladder was missing. He ran to his trucks, thinking to drive them next to the house and climb up. Strangely, both trucks, which had worked perfectly the day before, would not start. Time was slipping away and the fire raged on. By dawn, the Sodder home was reduced to ash. Firefighters, delayed by snow and a lack of manpower due to the holiday, arrived far too late. The initial investigation concluded the children had died in the fire. But there was one glaring problem. There were no remains. No bones, no skulls, nothing. Experts would later state that even in a house fire that intense, bones would remain. Jenny, unable to accept the official explanation, burned chicken bones in her own oven to see if they would disintegrate. They didn't. The fire alone could not explain her children's total disappearance. Even stranger, the phone line to the house had been cut, not burned. A man was seen stealing parts from a utility pole nearby just before the fire. Witnesses claimed they saw someone throwing balls of fire onto the roof. One child even recalled hearing something hit the roof just before the flames erupted. Theories began to swirl. The official narrative was full of holes, and the Sodders were left with only grief, confusion, and a growing suspicion. Their children hadn't died. They had been taken. In the years that followed, reports began to surface. A bus driver claimed to have seen children peering out of a passing vehicle the night of the fire. A waitress in a nearby town reported serving breakfast to 5 children with 2 adults, all of them nervous, all speaking Italian. George and Jenny hired private investigators. They contacted the FBI. The local authorities dismissed their pleas. Undeterred, George and Jenny took matters into their own hands. In 1952, they erected a giant billboard on Route 16 with the children's photos and a heartbreaking plea. What was their fate? Kidnapped? Murdered? Or are they still alive? The billboard became a local landmark and a symbol of their undying hope. Over the years, more rumors emerged. One involved George's outspoken views against Benito Mussolini. He had many enemies in the local Italian community who resented his political stance. Could this have been retaliation? Was the fire a cover-up? And if so, where were the children now? In 1967, over 2 decades after the fire, Jenny received an envelope. Inside was a photo of a man in his 20s. On the back, a handwritten note read, "Louis Sodder. I love Brother Frankie. Allele Boys. A90132." Investigators tried to trace the photo, but the trail led nowhere. Jenny believed it was her son, older, alive, but unreachable. The family kept the photo on the mantel. Another haunting clue that led to more questions and no answers. Jenny never stopped mourning. For the rest of her life, she dressed in black. She turned her grief into obsession, planting flowers at the site of the fire, keeping the billboard updated, and preserving the children's bedroom just as it was in 1945. George died in 1969, still searching for his children. Jenny followed in 1989. Their surviving children took up the search, but the case grew colder with each passing year. To this day, the mystery of the Sodder children remains unsolved. No bones, no confessions, no trace, just a charred plot of land, a faded billboard, and a legacy of loss, grief, and unanswered questions. Was it an arson gone wrong? A planned kidnapping? Mafia retribution? Or something more sinister, a cover-up that reached far beyond Fayetteville? Whatever the truth may be, it remains buried beneath the ashes of a Christmas long past. The fire may have burned the Sodder house to the ground, but the mystery it left behind will never die.